Hey everyone, this is James from TDB bringing you another Inbetweenisode today. It's for the big blue potheads, the people that really like ripe. Today it's the Dayi Vajra ripe. So this is a 2023 one. It's part of the higher end Dayi line. Higher end, don't stop there because it doesn't necessarily mean this is super expensive. This sells for about $40 over at Quiche's site. You can find it even for cheaper on Taobao. It's just a great time to buy Dayi. If you are at all interested in Dayi, ripe or raw, it's a good time to go out there, learn how to use Taobao potentially. There's a lot of stuff fraught with shipping these days, so I don't know what the situation will be like at that point. But it's a good time for big benefits people. Because like this is their higher end ripe, but it's cheaper than what you're gonna find from a lot of boutique type ripe from Western vendors for sure. I mean, like this thing is barely above 10 cents a gram. So this is a 10 gram chunker session, so it's about $1 for ripe that I serve for my wife in the morning, for myself in the morning, and am having now. This is a interesting tea. They have made this tea a couple times. One thing that's kind of interesting too is Quiche and Taishunhe. They sell the 2008 version of this, which is quite a bit more expensive. I think it's like $140, $150, which indicates that it's a pretty high end ripe because a lot of ripe from that era. It's more expensive, but it's not that much more expensive. You're usually looking at more like 70-ish. Dollars or whatnot. So yeah, let's get into this guy. Woody, creamy. And one thing I did note about this tea, and one reason it may not perform quite as well for a session like this, is I have noticed that the special stuff of this tea happens fairly early on in this session, and you can definitely tell that it's a little bit higher quality ripe pu'erh from that, especially compared to kind of the Dayi norm. And at times it actually reminds me a bit of kind of like the boutique type productions that you would get from a white tea or United Sourcing. Certainly not like their highest end ones, but you know, some of the stuff that is definitely priced accordingly. It's definitely at this point, I feel like it's tasting a little more standard. Yeah, it has kind of hint of this brighter fruit thing going on as far as that goes. Definitely a little bit higher end. I'd say the things that it stands out are it has a little bit more delicateness to its texture. I would say it's also a little bit extra fragrant. Both of those things are not necessarily coming out too much here. Maybe a little bit of that fragrance coming out, just like a little bit more richness, that bright note as well. I think Dayi is an incredible place to get as kind of like your standard for ripe pu'erh, just because it is kind of the industry norm. They helped to invent ripe pu'erh literally, and they've continually been at the forefront. The material that makes it into their blends is pretty ideally suited for ripe as well. So I do recommend anyone that's interested in ripe to kind of get your baseline with Dayi. And this is a little bit of an unusual one. I'd probably say stick to your 7572s, your 7452s, if you want to get kind of your baseline. But this one is one to check out maybe just after those, because it is higher end, and I think a lot of people are really going to like this tea. Something like the Golden Needle White Lotus is another really popular one. I think this is fairly tip heavy. A lot of their higher end line that tends to be a little bit tip heavy, and that perhaps is why we extracted a lot of that goodness on the early steeps when I had it this morning. I was taking extra notes this morning, and I got to say it is presenting itself somewhat differently here. This is a pretty solid ripe. I don't think this is going to be a restock for me. Most ripes are not a restock for me just because I like to kind of rotate and try out some new stuff when it comes to ripe because they do tend to run together a little bit. If you are someone that really wants to check out kind of like these fancier Dayi ripes, this one's great because Quiche makes it really, really accessible. You can just go out there and buy it. Thank you all for tuning in. Let me know how you like this episode, and I will see y'all next time. Cheers.